General Order 305. Emergency Vehicle Operation. A police vehicle can carry help toward danger. It can also carry danger into an innocent person's path. Emergency lights are a warning. A siren is a request for the road to yield. Neither one makes the road yours. The first rule is simple. The preservation of life comes before apprehension and property. Everything else rests upon that truth. Signals and codes. Know the difference. A signal tells you what is happening. A code tells you how the police vehicle is being operated. Signal 0 means an officer is down or in trouble. When the officer cannot clearly communicate Signal 0, the distress word Panther carries the same meaning. Code 3 means emergency driving with both emergency lights and siren activated. Code 1 means normal, non-emergency driving. A Signal 0 may require a Code 3 response, but they do not mean the same thing. The signal identifies the emergency. The code governs the vehicle. General legal authority and restrictions. All officers operating city-owned or city-leased police vehicles must exercise due regard for the safety of every person. Criminal apprehension is secondary to life. Property is secondary to life. Emergency vehicle operations require skill, common sense, judgment, and restraint. During an emergency response or pursuit, continuously compare the seriousness of the incident with the danger created by your driving. A decision made in seconds may carry civil, criminal, disciplinary, and personal consequences for years. The emergency explains your urgency. It does not excuse poor judgment. Texas Emergency Vehicle Authority. When emergency lights and siren are activated, Texas law may permit the driver of an authorized emergency vehicle responding to an emergency call or pursuing a violator to park or stand where ordinary traffic law would prohibit it. Proceed past a red light, stop signal, or stop sign after slowing as necessary for safe operation. Exceed the maximum speed limit when doing so does not endanger life or property. Disregard certain rules controlling direction of movement or turning. These are legal privileges. They are not commands. You are never required to use every privilege merely because the law permits it. The authority to disregard certain traffic regulations does not excuse negligence. It does not excuse recklessness. It does not remove your duty to protect others. The law grants privileges. It does not grant immunity from reckless driving. Red lights and stop signs. State law may allow an emergency vehicle to proceed through a red light or stop sign after slowing. Fort Worth policy requires more. Before entering the intersection, slow to a speed that ensures safe operation. Yield. Use extreme caution. Confirm that the intersection is clear. Confirm that approaching traffic has stopped or yielded. Do not trust the traffic light. Do not trust the siren. Do not trust another driver to obey the law until that driver actually yields. Slow. Yield. Clear the intersection, then proceed. Right of way. Other drivers may be legally required to yield to an emergency vehicle. Their legal duty does not remove your responsibility. The right of way cannot be assumed. It cannot simply be taken. A motorist may not see you. They may not hear you. They may hear the siren, but misunderstand where it is coming from. Until the vehicle actually yields, act as though the driver has not seen you. Pedestrians are considered to have the absolute right of way. The right of way is yielded. It is never assumed. School abuses. Whether driving in an emergency or non-emergency manner, come to a complete stop when a school bus flashes its red signal lights and activates its side stop signal. After stopping, you may pass only after using due diligence and extreme caution. You may pass only when doing so will not endanger the students. The call may be urgent. The child crossing the road is still innocent. Emergency or not, stop for the school bus. Densely populated areas and school zones. A supervisor will evaluate whether a pursuit should continue when the pursued vehicle approaches. A densely populated area, or an active school zone. As the pursuing officer, report those changing conditions. The supervisor cannot evaluate a danger that you failed to transmit. Do not allow tunnel vision to hide the neighborhood around you. When the surroundings change, tell the radio. Emergency lights and siren. Do not use emergency lights or siren merely because traffic is heavy. Do not activate them because you are late. Do not use them because you are impatient. Discretionary use is prohibited unless expressly authorized by General Order 305.02. Emergency equipment is not a convenience. It is a warning system used for an authorized purpose. Medication and driving. Do not operate a city-owned or city-leased vehicle on official business when medication may impair your ability to drive safely. You must tell your healthcare provider that driving is required for your city employment and what type of vehicles you operate. The provider needs that information to advise you properly. Report any driving restrictions or limitations to your supervisor. You are not required to disclose the name of the medication or the medical condition for which it was prescribed. Your medical privacy remains protected. Public safety still requires disclosure of the driving limitation. You may keep the medication private. You may not hide a driving restriction. Code 3. Emergency response. Code 3 means operating a police vehicle with emergency lights activated and the siren activated. Both are required. Officers respond immediately using the proper emergency equipment. But immediate does not mean reckless. Proceed safely. Drive reasonably for the conditions. Remain watchful of other drivers. Drive defensively. A Code 3 response conducted outside the general order may violate the law. Expose the city to civil liability. Expose the officer to civil liability. Expose the officer to criminal liability. And result in departmental discipline. The emergency does not reduce accountability. It increases it. Code 3 grants urgency. It does not grant recklessness. When Code 3 may be used. Code 3 calls include, but are not limited to, Priority 1 calls involving, serious crimes in progress, an imminent threat to human life, or an imminent threat to public safety. Certain Priority 1 calls may require officers to discontinue lights and siren when approaching the scene. Examples include barricaded persons, hostage situations, major disturbances, riots. Once the emergency lights and siren are discontinued, return to Code 1 driving. The incident may remain dangerous, but your driving mode has changed. Code 3 intersections. When operating Code 3, yield at stop signs and red traffic signals. Use extreme caution. Confirm that the intersection is safe and clear. Do not judge success by how quickly you cross. Judge it by whether everyone survives the crossing. You do not take an intersection. You clear it. Code 3. Speed. Do not exceed the posted speed limit in an active school zone. Outside an active school zone, do not exceed the posted speed limit by more than 20 miles per hour. 20 miles per hour over the limit is a maximum. It is not a required speed. It is not a target. It is not proof of courage. When road, weather, traffic, or other conditions create a hazard, obey the posted speed limit and reduce your speed further when necessary. Rain may lower the safe speed. Traffic may lower it. Pedestrians may lower it. Poor visibility may lower it. Your own experience may lower it. Policy establishes the ceiling. Judgment determines how far beneath it you must drive. Before initiating Code 3. Before entering Code 3, consider your distance from the incident. How many units are closer? Weather conditions, road conditions, traffic congestion, pedestrians, the proximity of children, the proximity of schools, and an honest assessment of your driving skill. Do not allow pride to answer the last question. The uniform does not make every officer an expert emergency driver. Reach the scene as quickly as possible while first protecting yourself, other officers, motorists, pedestrians, and the public. You are no help at the emergency if you create another emergency on the way. Code 3 requirements. Code 3. Operation is limited by policy. The driver must be a commissioned peace officer. The vehicle must be a marked police unit. Certain SWAT responses have a specific exception under SWAT procedures. For ordinary patrol operations, use a marked unit. Both emergency lights and siren must be activated. Immediately notify the dispatcher when you initiate Code 3. Do not operate Code 3 with a passenger unless the passenger is another Fort Worth police officer or a citizen who has signed a waiver of liability. When Code 3 must end. If the emergency appears to be under control, but additional units are still requested, those additional units continue Code 1. If any unit on scene declares the call unfounded, all responding units return to Code 1. Then resume patrol. Code 3 must be limited and terminated as soon as practical. Do not continue emergency driving merely because you already started. Conditions change. Your driving must change with them. Supervisory control of Code 3 responses. Supervisors monitor emergency responses. They may adjust the response level, control the number of responding units, return units to service, and intervene when necessary to protect officers, the public, and patrol coverage. As a patrol officer, listen to radio instructions. Follow changes in response level. Return to Code 1 when directed. Do not assume that your original authorization continues forever. Signal 0. Officer down or in trouble. An officer down or officer in trouble call is dispatched as Signal 0. When circumstances prevent the communication of Signal 0, the distress word Panther means the same thing. A Signal 0 will create a powerful desire to reach the officer immediately. Control that desire. An uncontrolled mass response may block emergency medical personnel from entering, block ambulances from leaving with the injured officer, interfere with the search for the offender, and leave the rest of the city without adequate police protection. The injured officer needs disciplined help, not chaos. When an officer has been shot or severely injured, the first supervisor on scene determines whether additional equipment or personnel are needed. When additional resources are requested under this provision, responding units proceed Code 3. The first supervisor will also identify routes into the scene, routes out of the scene, and a staging area. As a patrol officer, follow the designated routes, keep emergency lanes clear, report to the assigned location or staging area. Do not block the ambulance while trying to help the injured officer. 305.03. Vehicle pursuit. A fleeing driver may invite you to chase. The invitation is not the authority. A pursuit creates danger to the public, the officer, the suspect. Before pursuing, decide whether the pursuit will create a greater risk of harm than allowing the suspect to escape temporarily. Also consider whether the suspect can be apprehended by another method. The desire to catch someone now is powerful. It is not always wise. A known suspect may be arrested later. A life lost during the pursuit cannot be recovered later. Before you chase, compare the danger of the suspect with the danger of the pursuit. A pursuit is not an ordinary code. 3. Response. A pursuit is not governed by the ordinary Code 3 response rules. That does not mean safety rules disappear. You still must operate the vehicle safely. You still must exercise due regard. You still remain responsible for negligence and recklessness. The pursuit provisions replace certain Code 3 restrictions. They do not replace judgment. A pursuit is separate from Code 3, but never separate from safety. Pursuit definitions. Know the language before you enter the pursuit. Pursuit. A pursuit includes a vehicular pursuit or a motorcycle pursuit. Vehicular pursuit. A vehicular pursuit is an active attempt by an officer in an authorized emergency vehicle to apprehend a fleeing suspect who is operating a motor vehicle and is attempting to elude the officer. Motorcycle pursuit. A motorcycle pursuit is an active attempt to apprehend a fleeing suspect when the officer is on a motorcycle or the suspect is on a motorcycle. Fleeing. A suspect is considered fleeing when the suspect performs an overt action intended to avoid arrest. A driver who merely fails to yield while continuing to obey traffic laws is not considered fleeing under this order. Do not create a pursuit from impatience. Look for conduct showing an actual attempt to escape. Failure to yield is not automatically fleeing. Look for an overt act intended to escape arrest. Authorized emergency vehicle. For pursuit purposes, an authorized emergency vehicle is a marked police department vehicle, equipped with operable emergency lights and an operable siren. Primary pursuit unit. The primary pursuit unit is the unit that initiates the pursuit or a unit that later assumes control of it. Secondary pursuit unit. The secondary pursuit unit is the backup unit that follows the primary at a safe distance. The secondary supports the primary. It does not crowd it. It does not race it. It does not compete for position. Designated supervisor. The designated supervisor is the field supervisor or lieutenant contacted and briefed by communications to make decisions concerning the pursuit. Only one designated supervisor controls the pursuit at a time, unless another supervisor formally takes over. As a patrol officer, you must provide the facts, listen for authorization, follow supervisory instructions, and discontinue when ordered. You provide the facts. The designated supervisor decides whether the pursuit continues. Violent offense. For this general order, a violent offense includes an offense in which the suspect inflicted bodily injury, inflicted serious bodily injury, caused death, used a deadly weapon, or threatened another person with a deadly weapon. Violent offenses do not include assault by contact, or a verbal threat when the suspect does not have the apparent ability to carry it out immediately. Do not make the original offense more serious merely because the suspect fled. Initiating a pursuit. The decision to pursue must be based on the facts and circumstances known when the pursuit begins. Do not use information learned later to justify an earlier decision. Do not initiate a pursuit that creates greater danger to innocent people or property than the circumstances justify. Before pursuing, consider every relevant risk factor. Pursuit risk factors. Consider road conditions, weather conditions, environmental conditions, population density, vehicle traffic, pedestrian traffic, the capabilities of the police vehicle, the capabilities of the suspect vehicle, the seriousness of the offense, whether a non-sworn person is inside the police unit, whether other people are inside the suspect vehicle, residential neighborhoods, schools, commercial areas, whether the suspect's identity is known. and anything that may prevent you from maintaining control of the police vehicle. A pursuit reasonable on an empty highway may become unreasonable in a crowded neighborhood. The original offense has not changed. The danger has continuous reassessment. The decision to pursue is not made once. It must be made again and again. Conditions change. Traffic increases. Rain begins. The pursuit enters a neighborhood. The pursuit approaches a school. The suspect begins driving into oncoming traffic. Your vehicle becomes damaged. The suspect's identity becomes known. Another means of apprehension becomes available. Every new fact changes the balance. Do not continue merely because you already began. Required pursuit equipment. During a pursuit, use at all times emergency warning lights, the siren, emergency vehicle headlights, and the in-car audio and video system, when the vehicle is equipped with it. Do not silence the siren because it interferes with the radio. Do not forget the headlights. Do not forget the camera. Lights, siren, headlights, camera, all operating throughout the pursuit. Vehicles that may participate. Only marked police vehicles equipped with mounted and operable emergency lights and sirens may participate. Supervisors and unmarked vehicles may follow using a Code 1 response. As a patrol officer, do not enter the pursuit from an unauthorized vehicle. Motorcycle units. A motorcycle unit that lawfully initiates or becomes involved in a pursuit must surrender the primary position as soon as a marked police vehicle is available to take over. When a second marked police vehicle becomes available as a pursuit unit, the motorcycle must disengage. The motorcycle does not remain merely because it arrived first. When marked patrol units arrive, the motorcycle gives up the pursuit and disengages. Supervisors as primary units. A supervisor may initiate a pursuit, but the supervisor must give up the primary position as soon as another patrol unit is available to take over. Communications should assist with that change. As the patrol officer assuming the primary position, clearly acknowledge the transfer. Know the reason for the pursuit. Know the current conditions. And continue the required radio updates. Radio notification. When you engage in a pursuit, notify the dispatcher. Provide your unit number. The type of primary unit, whether automobile or motorcycle. Your location. Your direction of travel. The reason for the pursuit. Relevant road conditions. Relevant weather conditions. A description of the pursued vehicle. And the number of occupants. If you cannot provide the required information, the supervisor must terminate the pursuit. The supervisor cannot judge a pursuit without facts. Control your breathing. Drive the vehicle. Speak clearly. Radio order, unit, location, direction, reason, conditions, vehicle, occupants. The reason for the pursuit. Do not merely say, "They are running." Flight describes what the driver is doing now. The supervisor also needs to know why the stop or arrest was originally attempted. State the offense. State the dangerous conduct. State the facts. Do not exaggerate them. Supervisory authorization. Communications will notify and brief a supervisor or lieutenant. That person becomes the designated supervisor. After receiving the required information, the designated supervisor announces whether the pursuit is authorized and may continue, or officers must immediately discontinue. Do not assume silence means approval. Listen for the decision. When ordered to discontinue, discontinue immediately. Pursuit intersections. Approach every intersection with caution. Do not assume motorists see or hear the emergency vehicle until they actually yield. When approaching an intersection controlled by a device that would normally stop traffic, do not proceed until you determine it is safe. You may determine it is safe when You can see that the intersection is clear. All lanes are clear. And no approaching traffic will enter your path. You may also consider information transmitted by ground units or air units. But when any vehicle is inside the intersection, stop. Wait. Do not enter until the intersection clears, not slow and hope. Stop and wait. The suspect may enter blindly. You may not. Hostage or innocent passenger. When you become aware that a hostage or other innocent passenger is or may be inside the pursued vehicle, immediately notify the dispatcher. Report all available information. Include a physical description, a clothing description, the person's known location inside the vehicle, information about the suspects, and information about weapons. Do not wait for perfect certainty. The policy applies when an innocent passenger or hostage may be present. What communications does. Communications will control the radio channel, assign assist units, notify supervision, notify Air 1 when applicable, identify the designated supervisor, obtain and record the reason for the pursuit, monitor and broadcast the pursuit's progress. When the pursuit crosses into another division, communications will announce whether it has already been approved and identify the designated supervisor. Your responsibility is to keep communications supplied with clear and current information. What the designated supervisor does. The designated supervisor will decide whether the pursuit may continue, announce the decision over the radio, monitor new information, order termination when conditions require it, coordinate the involved units, and respond to the termination point. You do not perform those supervisory duties, but you must give the supervisor enough information to perform them. Discontinuing the pursuit. The designated supervisor and primary pursuit unit must continually reassess the pursuit. Discontinue whenever the risk of continuing becomes greater than the public safety benefit of immediate apprehension. The primary pursuit unit may discontinue at any time. A higher-ranking sworn Fort Worth supervisor may order the pursuit terminated at any time. Ending an unreasonable pursuit is not cowardice, it is judgment. When ordered to discontinue. Stop actively pursuing. Follow communications and supervisory instructions. Do not remain close behind while claiming you are no longer pursuing. Do not continue emergency driving in an attempt to pressure the suspect. The termination must be real, not merely spoken over the radio. Follow current department training concerning the exact disengagement procedure. Termination point. When the pursuit terminates, broadcast the location over the radio. The vehicle stopping does not mean the danger has ended. The termination may involve a collision, a bailout, a foot pursuit, an arrest, weapons, injured people, or several officers arriving from different directions. Control your speed, control your approach, listen to the radio, watch for crossfire. Watch the occupants. Do not let adrenaline drive you blindly into the final scene. Non-uniformed officers. A non-uniformed officer responding to the termination point must notify the dispatcher over the pursuit channel and display proper identification on the officer's outer clothing. The officer must be readily identifiable as police. At the end of a pursuit, officers may arrive from several directions. Everyone must know who is law enforcement. Fort Worth pursuits leaving the city. When a Fort Worth pursuit leaves the city and enters a county other than Tarrant County, a lieutenant or higher must be notified to determine whether it may continue. The order contains an exception for jurisdictions surrounded by Fort Worth city limits. The continuation decision will be announced over the radio. When a lieutenant or higher cannot immediately be contacted, the supervisor will continue monitoring, attempt to contact the lieutenant, and announce whether the pursuit may continue or must end. When the pursuit is authorized to continue, the unit broadcasting the pursuit must advise the dispatcher of the jurisdiction being entered. Information provided to another jurisdiction. Before entering another jurisdiction, or as soon as practical afterward, communications will attempt to provide that agency with notice that the pursuit is entering, the reason for the pursuit, the nature of the violation, location and direction, a complete description of the suspect vehicle, a description of the occupants, the number of police vehicles or elements involved, whether assistance is needed. Notice when the pursuit leaves the jurisdiction, and the termination location when it ends inside that jurisdiction. Your clear radio traffic provides communications with the information needed to make these notifications. Pursuits initiated by another agency. When another law enforcement agency's pursuit enters Fort Worth, notify the dispatcher. Do not join unless a designated supervisor approves your participation. Another agency's decision to pursue is not automatic authorization for you to join. Notify, wait, join only when approved. When another agency's pursuit ends in Fort Worth, the agency with the highest charge involving the occupants is responsible for arrest and custody, arraignment, disposition of passengers, disposition of the arrested person's vehicle, and coordination of reports, citations, and criminal charges. A Fort Worth supervisor will respond to ensure the actions taken are proper. As a patrol officer, protect the scene, follow supervisory direction, determine which agency has responsibility. Do not argue over ownership of the arrest while the scene remains unsafe.
Collisions from another agency's pursuit.
A traffic collision occurring inside Fort Worth as a result of another agency's pursuit is investigated by the Fort Worth Police Department Traffic Investigation Unit. Preserve the scene, request the proper resources, follow supervisory direction. After-action reporting. When a supervisor initially authorized the pursuit to continue, officers must complete all necessary paperwork concerning the pursuit, the arrest, and related offenses. The designated supervisor handles the administrative pursuit report responsibilities. Your responsibility is to complete an accurate and thorough offense report. What your pursuit report should explain. Document the facts known when the pursuit began, why you attempted the stop, the original offense, the suspect's actions showing an intent to flee, why you initiated the pursuit, road conditions, weather conditions, traffic, pedestrians, the suspect vehicle, the number of occupants, your warning equipment use, your radio notifications, the supervisory authorization, major changes in risk, why you continued, why you discontinued, where and how the pursuit ended, and what occurred afterward. Do not merely write, "The suspect fled, and I pursued." Explain the decision, explain the risk, explain your actions. Do not write with hindsight. Do not use facts learned after the pursuit to falsely justify the original decision. If you did not know the suspect had a weapon when the pursuit began, do not write as though you knew. If the original offense was minor, describe it truthfully. If the conditions became dangerous, explain when and how. Write what you knew then, not what investigators discovered later. Administrative review. The supervisor will review the offense report and prepare or coordinate the administrative pursuit report. The report moves through the chain of command. The pursuit may be examined for policy compliance, driving tactics, training needs, equipment issues, and departmental trends. A copy is made available to the driving safety coordinator for tactical review. Internal Affairs prepares an annual pursuit report to identify possible improvements in policy, training, tactics, and equipment. Your pursuit may last minutes. The review may last much longer. Act and write so the decision can survive an honest examination. Rookie Officer Review. Remember the foundation. Life comes before apprehension and property. A signal tells you what is happening. A code tells you how the vehicle is being operated. Signal 0 means officer down or officer in trouble. Panther carries the same meaning when signal 0 cannot be transmitted. Code 3 requires both lights and siren. Notify dispatch when initiating Code 3. Use a marked unit. Do not operate Code 3 with an unauthorized passenger. Do not exceed the posted limit in an active school zone. Do not exceed the posted limit by more than 20 miles per hour elsewhere. Reduce your speed when conditions make the maximum unsafe. At red lights and stop signs, slow. Yield. Use extreme caution. Clear the intersection. Never assume the right of way. Pedestrians have the absolute right of way. Stop for a school bus displaying red lights and its stop signal. Return to Code 1 when the emergency is controlled or unfounded. Terminate Code 3 as soon as practical. Before pursuing, know the offense. Know the threat. Know whether the suspect is identified. Consider another means of apprehension. Compare the danger of the pursuit with the danger of losing the suspect. Failure to yield is not automatically fleeing. Look for an overt action intended to avoid arrest. During the pursuit, use lights, use the siren, use headlights. Use the in-car recording system. Use an authorized marked unit. Notify communications. Transmit unit, location, direction, reason, conditions, vehicle, occupants. Listen for supervisory authorization. Do not assume silence means approval. At an occupied intersection, stop. Wait until it clears. Immediately report a known or possible hostage or innocent passenger. Continually reassess the danger. The primary unit may discontinue at any time. When ordered to terminate, terminate immediately. When another agency's pursuit enters Fort Worth, notify dispatch. Do not join without approval. When leaving the jurisdiction, name the jurisdiction. Listen for authorization. After the pursuit, complete every required report. Write the facts known at the time. Do not justify the pursuit with facts learned later. Final passage. A fleeing vehicle can narrow an officer's vision. The taillights become the only thing that matters. Do not permit it. See the intersection. See the pedestrian. See the child near the school bus. See the innocent passenger inside the suspect vehicle. See the officers following behind you. See the driver who has not heard the siren. The suspect chose to flee. You still choose how you respond. Use Code 3 only when authorized. Clear every intersection. Know why you pursue. Tell communications what supervision needs to know. Reassess every change. And when the danger becomes greater than the benefit of immediate apprehension, let the pursuit end. An arrest delayed may still be made. A life lost through poor judgment cannot be returned. Life first. Lights and siren. Clear the intersection. Know why you chase. Tell the radio. Reassess the risk. When the danger outweighs the arrest, let it go.